Who is Ava Brown? Sure you want to know?
Yes. Everything. Everything. The dirty.
I've got 2 failed marriages. Shall I start there? I grew up in Jamaica. No, it's a good thing. Don't worry. It's okay. Mr. Loverman will come. I've had 2 failed marriages. I'm a mother of 2 beautiful children. I'm an author. I'm a life coach. I'm an international speaker, a trainer, and a consultant. But more importantly, I'm a woman. You know, that's who I am. I'm the girl who grew up in Jamaica, sold mangoes on the train, left school without maths and English, and have turned my life around. That's who I am in a nutshell. I'm sure you were listening for Juicy, but sorry, that's for off air.
I've got some few questions I would love to ask you. And I know my audience is dying to want to know more about this woman sitting on my sofa today.
Brace myself.
Yeah. And the first question is, you grew up in Breeze Rivers. Breeze Rivers, am I right? Am I pronouncing it properly?
Yes.
St. Elizabeth in Jamaica.
Yes.
And you were selling mangoes on the train while your friends went to school. So how did you feel when you got your MBA for the first time? In 2014, right?
Yeah, the mango girl. I was called the mango gal. Now I'm Jamaican, so gal is how we call girl, mango gal. I was called the mango gal growing up as a child, and I remember being teased and, you know, laughed at and jeered. And I look back at some of those people now, and they're still at the same place that I left them. And I'm not saying that to brag or to boast, but just to say, when I got my MBA, it was a really euphoric moment for me. It was like a self-actualization point. And I felt really proud because from mangoes to no English, no math, to having 2 MBAs, girlfriend, I was proud. Like Monique would say, girlfriend, I was proud. I was so proud of myself.
So 2 MBAs, did you say? Well done.
Woohoo! There you are. Power to the girls, yes.
Well done.
I had to get an English one. I had an American one. And the thing about MBAs is that, you know, the British one just seemed to be the one that everybody wants. And I just had to make sure that I got the British one in while I'm still here. So yes.
Great. Thank you so much. Another question I would love to ask you is, what is the story behind Bamboo Fern? This is it, right?
Yeah, that's actually a picture of so probably like Nigeria, you've got villages. So we got districts, so like my little village. And that picture is from my district, as it were. The book is about my life. It really looks at my life through a child's eyes, growing up, incest, child abuse, you know, poverty, lack of amenities. But also it looks at how with very little, some children can be very happy. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So when I look at my own children now and see how they're always on computer games, while I went fishing and climbing mango trees and playing marbles, you know. Totally so it looks at my life, through a child's eyes. But then it also went through my teenage years, difficulties there, to an adulthood where I was held up at gunpoint. Wow. And that pushed me out of Jamaica. And when I talk about that, I talk about it as though I was ejected from my own DNA. And that's how I came to the UK. So it really captures the 3 stages of my life: childhood, teenagehood, and adulthood. And that's what Bamboo and Fern is about.
It sounds amazing. So what led you into writing?
Do you know what? My mom, and my book speaks about this very, very vividly. Up until 12 years old, I still didn't know who my dad was. And in the community, there was always a chat. You know, people can chat and gossip, and you know, I knew I was different because my other siblings had a different surname. But I just heard gossip, and I just wanted to understand. I wanted to know. You know, every child deserves to know who their father is. And I went to my mom to ask her, you know, who's my dad? And the beating she gave me, I describe it as cutting off my tongue and put it in my tummy. And that led me to start having so many questions. I mean, I'm a chatterbox, you can tell. So I had so many questions that I wanted answered. And my mom is in the era of children must be seen and not heard. So I started writing little notes and putting them in carrier bags and hiding them here and there and marking the spot, because it's your backyard, you know where they are. And that's how I started writing. And as things got more and I had more experiences, that I felt deemed to be told and deemed to be shared and harvested, I started writing. And before long I had a diary. And when I came to London, I just thought, no, there's so much here to share with others, especially when I had experienced racism. And I thought I had to share this. And so that's how I really got into writing. It was accidental, purely accidental. I never intended to write.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So what is next for Ava Brown? What should we expect from you?
Well, do you know what? There's so much that I expect to happen. I expect that my book will become a blockbuster. Yep, good. There's so much. I've got a charity I've just signed up with that I'm working. Education is a very big thing for me, and young people matter. So I'm a patron for a young people charity, a homeless charity, and an educational charity, so they combine. That's something I'm going to focus a lot more in 2016 going forward. My speaking and my coaching internationally next year is going to be a big year for that. As you know, we plan our years ahead. So my 2016 first quarter has already been planned. And, you know, that's in there. Stateside is somewhere I'm looking for a lot of ventures, and lots of collaborations are happening and stuff. So, you know, the message here is Ava Brown continues to work. Her book, The Woman of Steel and Stone, Ava Brown, The Woman of Steel and Stone, which is part 2 to that, is in production as we speak. The movie is also been discussed and looked at. But my coaching, because I want to die having helped everybody that I can understand that their background, that their situation, that, you know, their size, their accent, because your accent doesn't match doesn't mean that you are limited. So I want to die empty, having everybody who I've come into contact with understand that I have made something of my life, even regardless of how impoverished it was, and so can you. So that's what I'm about, really. That's what I do, and I help people to get their stories out. So
I'm inspired already and excited to find out. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Thank you.
And finally, as you're aware, the topic today is whether our background is a determinant of where we end up. So, has your background been a determining factor in where you are today?
You know,
Before you answer that. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Ramblers of an Author show. And I have with me a special guest star today, and her name is called Ava Brown. And she's a mother, a life coach, and an author. Before we went on the break, she was answering a question. And Ava, back to our question. Has your background been a determining factor in where you are today?
Of course, I think your background determines where you end up. I answer that question by saying yes, and I say no. I say yes because it was my childhood, my background, that pushed me to be where I'm at today. It was the fact that I did not want that impoverished lifestyle for myself. It was the fact that the vicissitude that I saw around me was what I did not want for myself. You can't control vicissitude to a point, but you can actually decide how much of it you let into your own life. So yes, my childhood has been a part, or my background has pushed me. I pushed me positively by saying, I do not want this for myself. That regardless of where I'm from, this is not what I want for myself. So that is my answer to say, yes, it can. And the other side, the flip side, and it might sound very contradictory, is no, it doesn't. Your background doesn't have to determine where you end up unless you let it. I mean, I could have sat there and said, you know, well, I'm from a bad background, where my mom can't read and write. No. So no, your background should not determine where you end up unless you let it. It's in your hands. You can't decide how you were born and the situation in which you were born. I had no choice. My mom had sex at 16 and gave birth to me. What did I have in the matter? Nothing. But I can decide how I die. And that's what I'm about. Deciding that I have no choice over what I was born into, but I've got a choice in the legacy I leave behind and how I die. That's it. So that's my answer on it. It might not be what some people want to hear, but that's my mantra, because I'm living proof that your background does not determine where you end up.
Amazing. I wish we had more time to talk, because, you know, I'm like literally blown away by most of what you're saying. It's just blowing me away. But finally, before we go, where can my audiences find a lot more about you?
Ooh, I'm everywhere. I'm like that manga girl who's everywhere. But I'm on www.avabrown.org. And this morning my son said that. And I was like, oh my God, he knows it. So I'm everywhere though. But if you Google me, you'll find me. I populate very easily.